agree on this on some levels. He always gets hung up on the fact that a few years back Vegas never gave up believing Oklahoma was better than they actually showed on the field. I take Vegas into account. At the beginning of the season, the Baylor Bears were 201 to win the BCS title. Now the Las Vegas Hotel and Casino Superbook has dropped Baylor to 6-1. 6-1. Their odds are the fourth shortest in Vegas. Fourth shortest. The only people ahead of them are Alabama, Oregon, and Clemson. That's it. I believe Clemson. I'm going to find out the third one. All I know is Baylor's 4. I read on, this is from, was this from the betting line? This is David Purdom wrote this yesterday. And some quotes from Ed, and I don't know if it's Salmons, like the fish, or Salmons, like the NBA player. So let's just say head odds maker at the Vegas Superbook said the reason that this dropped is with Baylor at 75-1, they got a bet that was, quote, large enough to make us take notice, and they drastically slashed their odds. Now, I was having some conversations on Twitter back and forth with a number of different folks that I follow, Wager Minds being one of them, and what Wager Minds suggested was this isn't that Vegas sees Baylor as a gigantic threat. They're just trying to reduce their risk. I mean, it's a risk-averse thing with futures bets. I understand, and I'm sure that feed knows better than I do, but I also think you don't slash the odds to 6-1 unless a team has truly gotten your attention and you believe that they're a threat to hurt you. And the quote from the bookmaker there at the Vegas Hotel and Casino Superbook was, we don't have a lot of tickets on Baylor, meaning tickets for them to win the title, but they are our biggest liability now. So a couple of things stand out to me about that. Baylor destroys everyone they play, and Vegas can't set a number high enough for them. They're going to cover whatever the number is. We're making a big deal out of Denver being a 28-point favorite. We don't see that much in NFL football. Baylor was about a 28-point favorite last week in a conference against a West Virginia team who beat a top 15 team the week before. Not enough. Baylor covered, although I guess it got dodgy in the end. We had Art Browse on earlier in the year. Didn't ask him about Vegas lines. We did ask him about when the competition would ramp up, and Baylor is going to slowly start easing into the toughest part of their schedule. Here's Art Browse, the head coach at Baylor.
We talk about with our players and staff, and not to belittle anybody. I mean, you play who you play, you do the best you can do versus your opponent, and that's all we're really trying to do. I mean, we're not trying to make statements. We're not trying to say we're doing this or that. What we're trying to do is get better. We're trying to improve. We're trying to be the best that we can possibly be every snap of the football game, offensively, defensively, on special teams. And we're getting to that point. And Scott mentioned earlier about how we finished last year. I mean, that momentum has carried over. We got some guys that have had some success on the football field, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And that's really done well for us this year. That's allowed us to do the things we're doing offensively.
As for that offense, Baylor's as good as anybody in the country. They were the number one offense last year. People keep telling me, who have they played? I understand. That's fair. They were the number one offense in the country last year for a whole year when they played everybody. And they're the number one offense this year. If they played Oregon, Salmons says if Baylor and Oregon were to meet, the total would be 100. I'm telling you, we're not far away from seeing a college football total of over 100, he said. And this quote caught my eye, too. The computers, some of the computers that they use, which are also in play to a degree for the BCS, thinks Baylor is a combination between the Denver Broncos and the Steelers of the 70s. I don't think their defense is that good. West Virginia got loose last week. But all of this caught my attention because they've caught Vegas's attention, and so did this, that if they played Ohio State this week on a neutral field, Vegas would make Baylor a 7.5-point favorite. So Ohio State fans, when I said the other day I think Baylor would score 50 against anybody, including you